When did you last feel truly alive? When did your presence command respect without you saying a word? When did you last look in the mirror and see a man who could conquer mountains rather than climb them? These questions pierce through the veil of comfortable mediocrity that has suffocated the very essence of what makes you magnetic, powerful, and undeniably masculine. Write "I will be better now" in the comments if you're ready to reclaim what society has stolen from you. My friends, I am Napoleon Hill, and for decades I have studied the minds of the most successful and magnetic men who ever walked this earth. What I discovered will shake the very foundation of how you see yourself and your place in this world. The masculine energy that once burned like an unquenchable fire within you has been systematically extinguished by a society that fears your true power. You see, there was a time when men understood their primal nature. They knew that within them resided an energy so potent, so magnetically attractive, that it could move mountains and captivate hearts without effort. But somewhere along the journey of modern civilization, you were taught to suppress this force, to tame it, to make it palatable for a world that prefers conformity over authenticity. The truth I must share with you today is both liberating and terrifying. Your masculine energy is not merely sleeping, it is dying. Every day you spend in comfortable mediocrity, every moment you choose safety over growth, every time you silence your inner voice to please others, you are suffocating the very essence that makes you irresistibly attractive to women and magnetically powerful in all areas of life. But here lies the magnificent paradox that the greatest minds throughout history have understood. The moment you become conscious of your power, the moment you recognize that time is not your enemy but your greatest ally, the moment you understand that reality bends to the will of those who refuse to accept limitation, that is the moment your resurrection begins. Let me tell you the story of Marcus, a man who discovered this truth when he thought all was lost. Marcus worked in a gray office building surrounded by gray walls, living a gray existence. For 32 years, he had convinced himself that this was what responsibility looked like. He had a decent job, paid his bills, and maintained what society called a stable life. But Marcus carried within him a secret shame. He felt invisible, especially to women. When Marcus entered a room, conversations didn't pause. When he spoke, people's attention wandered. When he tried to connect with women, he felt like he was speaking through glass. They could see him, but they couldn't truly feel his presence. He had become what I call a living ghost, physically present but energetically absent. The masculine energy that should have radiated from his core had been replaced by an apologetic existence. He had learned to shrink himself to fit into spaces that were never meant to contain his true magnitude. Like millions of men today, Marcus had traded his birthright of magnetic presence for the false security of social acceptance. But consciousness, my friend, is the great awakener. One evening, as Marcus sat in his apartment questioning the emptiness he felt despite having everything society told him he should want, he experienced what I call the moment of magnificent discontent. This is the precise instant when a man realizes that his current reality is not his final destiny. You see, time operates on two planes of existence. There is chronological time, the relentless tick of the clock that most men fear. They believe they are running out of time, that their best years are behind them, that it's too late to reclaim their power. But then there is psychological time, the realm where transformation occurs in the space of a single decision, where decades of conditioning can be shattered in moments of profound realization. Marcus discovered that his masculine energy had not disappeared. It had been buried under layers of social conditioning, fear of judgment, and the devastating belief that his natural instincts were somehow wrong or dangerous. Society had taught him that his desire to lead was toxic, that his competitive nature was problematic, that his sexual energy was inappropriate, and that his need for respect was selfish. But here is what every great man throughout history has understood. Your masculine energy is not something to be apologized for. It is your greatest gift to the world. When you suppress this energy, you don't just harm yourself, you deprive everyone around you of the inspiration, protection, and leadership they desperately need. The women in your life are not attracted to your politeness. They are magnetically drawn to your purposefulness. They are not captivated by your willingness to agree with everything. They are enchanted by your ability to stand firmly in your convictions. They are not impressed by your attempts to be safe. They are irresistibly attracted to your courage to be dangerous in the pursuit of your dreams. Marcus began to understand that his energy had been redirected into all the wrong channels. Instead of channeling his competitive drive into building something magnificent, he had used it to compete for scraps of approval. Instead of directing his protective instincts toward worthy causes, he had become overprotective of his comfort zone. Instead of allowing his sexual energy to fuel his creativity and ambition, he had suppressed it until it became stagnant and lifeless. The transformation began when Marcus made a decision that would change everything. He decided to stop apologizing for occupying space in the world. This single shift in consciousness created a ripple effect that would revolutionize every aspect of his existence. Reality, you must understand, is far more malleable than you have been led to believe. The world you experience is not fixed. It is a reflection of the energy you bring to it. When you show up as a diminished version of yourself, the world treats you accordingly. When you show up with the full force of your masculine presence, reality reorganizes itself to accommodate your new energy. Marcus discovered that reclaiming his masculine energy required him to embrace what I call the 3 pillars of magnetic masculinity. The first pillar is purposeful direction. A man without a clear sense of where he is going becomes like a ship without a compass. He may stay busy, but he will never reach any meaningful destination. Marcus realized that his life lacked the magnetic pull of a compelling future. He had been existing rather than living, surviving rather than thriving. The second pillar is emotional sovereignty. For too long, Marcus had allowed his emotional state to be determined by external circumstances and other people's opinions. He had given away his power to anyone who could make him feel good or bad about himself. True masculine energy requires you to become the source of your own emotional stability, the creator of your own confidence, the generator of your own sense of worth. The third pillar is authentic expression. Marcus had spent years trying to be the man he thought others wanted him to be, never realizing that this very attempt was what made him forgettable. The most magnetically attractive quality a man can possess is the courage to be authentically himself, even when that authenticity makes others uncomfortable. As Marcus began to embody these 3 pillars, something remarkable happened. The women who had previously looked through him as if he were invisible began to notice his presence. His colleagues started seeking his opinion. Opportunities that had never appeared before began to manifest in his life. It was as if the universe had been waiting for him to claim his rightful place in it, but the most profound change was internal. Marcus began to feel what he had been missing his entire adult life, the intoxicating sensation of being fully alive. His mornings were no longer exercises in reluctant obligation, but moments of eager anticipation. His interactions with others were no longer careful calculations designed to avoid rejection, but authentic exchanges that created genuine connection. The secret Marcus discovered, and the secret I am sharing with you now, is that your masculine energy is not something you need to create. It is something you need to uncover. It has been there all along, waiting beneath the layers of conditioning, fear, and false beliefs that have accumulated over the years. Every great achievement in human history has been the result of men who refused to accept the limitations that society tried to impose upon them. They understood that their masculine energy was not a problem to be solved, but a force to be channeled. They knew that their competitive nature was not toxic, but transformative. They recognized that their desire for respect was not selfish, but essential. The women who are truly worth your time and energy are not looking for a man who has been domesticated by society's expectations. They are searching for a man who has the courage to be dangerous in the pursuit of his dreams, gentle in the protection of those he loves, and unwavering in his commitment to his own growth and development. Your masculine energy is your birthright, but like all birthrights, it must be claimed. No one is going to give you permission to be powerful. No one is going to invite you to take up more space in the world. No one is going to encourage you to stop playing small and start playing the game of life at the level you were designed to play it. The consciousness that transforms men from followers into leaders, from observers into participants, from nice guys into magnetic men, begins with a single recognition. You are not here to seek approval. You are here to earn respect. You are not here to avoid conflict. You are here to stand for something worth fighting for. You are not here to be comfortable. You are here to be magnificent. Time is not running out. Time is calling out. Every moment you spend in mediocrity is a moment you could be spending in transformation. Every day you choose safety over growth is a day you move further away from the man you were meant to become. Every time you silence your authentic voice to avoid uncomfortable conversations, you weaken the very energy that could make you irresistibly attractive and undeniably powerful. The reality you are experiencing right now is not your final destination. It is your starting point. The man you have been is not the man you must remain. The energy you have been carrying is not the energy you are destined to embody. Your masculine power has been dormant, not dead. Your magnetic presence has been suppressed, not destroyed. Your ability to command respect and attract the right people into your life has been hidden, not eliminated. Marcus learned that the journey back to his authentic masculine energy required him to do something that felt simultaneously terrifying and exhilarating. He had to disappoint some people. He had to stop being the man everyone expected him to be and start being the man he was meant to become. He had to trade the comfortable prison of predictability for the uncertain adventure of authenticity. The women who had grown accustomed to his agreeable nature were initially confused by his newfound decisiveness. The colleagues who had taken advantage of his people-pleasing tendencies were surprised by his sudden willingness to set boundaries. The friends who had enjoyed his unconditional availability were shocked by his new priorities and commitments. But something magical happened in the space that his authenticity created. The right people, the people who were meant to be in his life, were magnetically drawn to his new energy. The women who appreciated strength over weakness, purpose over aimlessness, and authenticity over agreeability began to notice him in ways they never had before. Your masculine energy is not measured by how much weight you can lift or how loud you can speak. It is measured by how completely you can embody your authentic self, how courageously you can pursue your deepest purpose, and how consistently you can maintain your emotional sovereignty regardless of external circumstances. The consciousness that separates magnetic men from forgettable men is the understanding that attraction is not something you do, it is something you are. When you become the kind of man who is genuinely excited about his own life, who is deeply committed to his own growth, who is unshakably confident in his own worth, you don't need to try to attract the right people into your life. They are naturally drawn to the energy you radiate. Time becomes your ally when you understand that every moment is an opportunity to choose the man you want to become. You don't need months or years to begin this transformation. You need only the next decision, the next choice, the next opportunity to act from your authentic masculine core rather than your conditioned social persona. The reality that most men accept, the reality of quiet desperation, unfulfilled potential, and invisible existence, is not the reality you are sentenced to endure. Reality responds to the energy you bring to it. When you change your energy, you change your experience. When you change your experience, you change your life. Marcus discovered that his masculine energy had three distinct expressions that, when aligned, created an irresistibly attractive presence. The first expression was his relationship with challenge. Instead of avoiding difficult situations, he began to see them as opportunities to demonstrate his capability and grow his confidence. Every obstacle became a chance to prove to himself that he was more resourceful than he had previously believed. The second expression was his relationship with uncertainty. Instead of seeking constant reassurance and guarantees, Marcus learned to become comfortable with the unknown. He understood that the ability to move forward despite uncertainty is one of the most attractive qualities a man can possess. Women are not drawn to men who need constant validation. They are attracted to men who can create certainty through their own confidence and capability. The third expression was his relationship with his own desires. For years, Marcus had been ashamed of wanting more than he had, of desiring success, respect, and the attention of beautiful women. He had been taught that these desires were shallow or selfish, but he discovered that his desires were not the problem. His shame about them was. When he began to own his desires without apology, he found the motivation and energy necessary to pursue them with conviction. The transformation in Marcus's life was not gradual, it was sudden and dramatic. Within weeks of embracing his authentic masculine energy, opportunities that had been invisible to him for years began to appear. Women who had never given him a second glance began to seek his attention. His career, which had been stagnant for years, suddenly began to accelerate. His relationships with friends and family deepened as they responded to his new authenticity and confidence. But the most significant change was in how Marcus felt about himself. The constant anxiety about whether he was good enough, the persistent worry about what others thought of him, the endless quest for external validation, all of this disappeared when he became the source of his own approval and the creator of his own confidence. Your masculine energy is not something you can fake until you make it. It is not a persona you can adopt or a role you can play. It is the natural expression of a man who knows who he is, what he wants, and where he is going. It is the automatic result of aligning your actions with your authentic values, your words with your genuine thoughts, and your life with your deepest purpose. The consciousness that changes everything is the recognition that you have been living as a fraction of who you really are. You have been presenting a sanitized version of yourself to the world, hoping that this acceptable version will be enough to earn love, respect, and success. But what you have discovered, perhaps painfully, is that when you hide your authentic self, you attract people who are drawn to your mask rather than your truth. Time is the great revealer. Every day you spend being someone other than who you really are is a day that takes you further away from the life you were meant to live. Every moment you invest in maintaining a false version of yourself is a moment you could be investing in developing your authentic power. Every hour you spend seeking approval for being less than you are is an hour you could spend earning respect for being exactly who you were meant to become. The reality that awaits you on the other side of this transformation is not just a better version of your current life, it is a completely different existence. When you reclaim your masculine energy, you don't just improve your relationships with women, you revolutionize your relationship with yourself. You don't just become more attractive, you become more alive. You don't just gain respect from others, you develop an unshakable respect for yourself. Marcus learned that the journey to reclaiming his masculine energy required him to develop what I call comfortable discomfort. This is the ability to remain centered and confident even when circumstances are challenging, uncertain, or uncomfortable. Most men spend their lives trying to avoid discomfort, not realizing that this avoidance is what keeps them weak and unattractive. The most magnetically attractive men are those who have learned to be comfortable with discomfort. They can have difficult conversations without losing their composure. They can face rejection without losing their confidence. They can encounter setbacks without losing their determination. They can deal with uncertainty without losing their direction. This comfortable discomfort becomes the foundation of authentic masculine presence. When you are no longer controlled by your need to avoid uncomfortable situations, you become free to pursue what you truly want rather than settling for what feels safe. When you are no longer driven by your fear of other people's disapproval, you become free to express your authentic thoughts and feelings rather than saying what you think others want to hear. The consciousness that transforms boys into men, followers into leaders, and nice guys into magnetic men is the understanding that your comfort zone is not protecting you, it is imprisoning you. Every day you spend within the boundaries of what feels safe is a day you spend moving further away from what feels truly alive. Your masculine energy thrives on challenge, grows through adversity, and becomes magnetic through authenticity. When you embrace this truth, when you stop apologizing for your strength and start celebrating your power, when you quit seeking permission to be magnificent and start demanding respect for your authenticity, that is when your real life begins. The time for comfortable mediocrity is over. The time for apologetic existence is finished. The time for invisible living is done. Your masculine energy is calling to you from beneath the layers of conditioning and fear. It is time to answer that call. It is time to reclaim what was always yours. It is time to become the man you were born to be. Marcus's story became a testament to the truth that no man is sentenced to a life of quiet desperation unless he accepts that sentence. Every man has within him the seeds of magnetic presence, irresistible attraction, and unshakable confidence. The question is not whether you have this power. The question is whether you will claim it. The women who are meant to be in your life are not looking for perfection. They are looking for authenticity. They are not seeking someone who has no problems. They are seeking someone who faces his problems with courage and wisdom. They are not attracted to men who never fail. They are drawn to men who fail forward, learn quickly, and become stronger through their struggles. Your masculine energy is your gift to the world, but it is a gift that must be unwrapped. No one can do this unwrapping for you. No one can give you permission to be powerful. No one can grant you the right to take up space in the world. These are things you must claim for yourself. The consciousness that changes everything begins with a single decision. The decision to stop living as a diminished version of yourself and start living as the magnificent man you were created to be. This decision will not be comfortable. It will not be easy. It will not be immediately understood or appreciated by everyone in your life, but it will be the beginning of your real life. Time is not your enemy. Time is your opportunity. Every moment you have been given is a chance to choose the man you want to become. Every day is an invitation to express more of your authentic self. Every interaction is an opportunity to practice being the kind of man who commands respect and attracts the right people into his life. The reality you have been accepting is not the reality you are destined to endure. Your masculine energy has been dormant, not dead. Your magnetic presence has been suppressed, not destroyed. Your ability to create the life you want has been hidden, not eliminated. The time has come to reclaim what has always been yours. Marcus discovered that his transformation was not just about becoming more attractive to women, it was about becoming more attractive to life itself. When you embody your authentic masculine energy, opportunities that were invisible before become obvious. People who would never have noticed you before begin to seek your attention and respect your opinion. Possibilities that seemed impossible before begin to feel inevitable. Your masculine energy is dead only if you allow it to remain buried. It is weak only if you refuse to exercise it. It is unattractive only if you continue to hide it behind a mask of false agreeability and desperate people-pleasing. The moment you decide to resurrect your authentic power, the moment you choose to embody your magnetic presence, the moment you commit to expressing your true self, that is the moment your real life begins. The journey back to your masculine core requires courage, but not the kind of courage that conquers mountains. It requires the courage to disappoint people who have grown comfortable with your smallness. It requires the courage to stand alone when necessary, rather than compromise your authenticity for acceptance. It requires the courage to want more for yourself than others think you deserve. Your masculine energy is not something you need to create, it is something you need to uncover. It is not something you need to learn, it is something you need to remember. It is not something you need to become, it is something you need to return to being. The time for excuses is over. The time for waiting for permission is finished. The time for settling for less than you deserve is done. Your masculine energy is calling to you. The question is not whether you can hear it, the question is whether you will answer. Sua energia masculina está morta. But death is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of resurrection. It is the start of your return to power. It is the first chapter of your journey back to the magnificent man you were always meant to be. Write "I will be better now" in the comments if you're ready to stop living as a shadow of yourself and start embodying the full force of your masculine power. The time for transformation is not tomorrow, it is now. Your new life is not waiting for you in the future, it is available to you in this moment. The only question that remains is this: will you claim it?